And then it's almost there.
It's all good.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So we are live on YouTube. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1 and give you a huge introduction.
All right.
3, 2, 1. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor podcast video for you, or podcast, I should say. We are streaming on YouTube as well. Today, I have a phenomenal guest. My man has been featured on ABC News, Fox, Forbes, Nike. I mean, and the list goes on and on. I just got introduced to him not too long ago, but this guy has quite the story and has made some major moves in such a short time. Without further ado, I want to introduce Charlie Jabaley, aka Charlie Rocket, to the show. What is going on, my man?
What's up, my man? How you doing today?
I am doing amazing, especially having you on the show, my man. So listen, let's just give our audience a little bit of a background of who you are and what you have been able to accomplish in such a short time, dude.
Man, first of all right, how do we break this down? So I got like different little aliases I've had in my life. Right now I'm Charlie Rocket. That was like the reinvention of myself from a businessman to an athlete. My original dream when I was little, I wanted to be an athlete, but I was always overweight and obese, and I got diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I became a businessman. And I always believed, like, it kind of like the law of attraction and like owning my identity and attracting what I want. So I named myself CEO Charlie as a young kid, like 8 years old, where I'd take my briefcase and my suit and I'd go to school. And I would let everybody know I'm going to be a successful businessman. And that came true. I got into the music industry. Growing up in Atlanta, the hip hop, culture was taking off. And, everybody at the time probably thought like hip hop was a small thing, but it's very important to like listen to the youth and like understand like cultural trends, because if we're not paying attention to what the kids are doing, we're going to lose our place in the marketplace. So me as a kid, I was trying to tell people, nah, this hip hop thing is going to be really, really big. But people probably didn't look at it as like it could be the biggest genre in the world. Pop music, the Taylor Swifts of the world and the Justin Biebers of the world. That's just a big, big, big genre. But if you take all the way fast forward to when I was young to now, hip hop is the #1 genre in the world.
Yeah.
It has 70% market share of top 100 records. The biggest genre that ever existed before that only had 49%. So in business and marketing as a kid, I just knew, because that's what I was interested in. So it's very important that we always listen to the youth, because something's going to come up and surprise us all. And the kids usually know the answers. So I got into hip hop. I did good. I've sold 43 million records.
And you managed too?
I managed 2 Chainz, Travis Porter, been nominated for 6 Grammys, won 1 Grammy, 8 world tours, also managed Young Dolph. Just a big hip hop label in Atlanta, Georgia.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So here's the deal. When Charlie speaks, I get this impression that you could kind of foresee the future before it happens. Like, and you're a big manifester. So you're going to manifest things into creation. I'm a huge fan. I've been following you for a couple of months now, and you sort of, you manifest things into your life. Like, you make them happen.
Yeah.
And I want you to dive into that a little bit, because I think 98% of it is mindset and the 2% is actually doing the stuff. And then we can get into some marketing concepts and building your following and things like that later on.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, man, if y'all see my background, I don't know if y'all can see my background, but I'm on a walk right now. This is great. Doing a podcast, inspiring people, and I'm on a walk by a creek. Look at this. This is great.
I love
So
it.
okay, one of the greatest things that I was able to manifest was when I was in the music industry, and I was on top of the world as far as the pinnacle of my entire career was winning a Grammy. But at that time, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I got real sick, and I was 300 pounds, and I'm crossing a creek right now. So if I fall in the water, y'all please forgive me. Taking step by step. Sorry, guys. So I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I was 300 pounds, and I'm at the top of my career.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden in my life, I realized that none of this money, success, cars, houses, none of it really meant anything to me anymore. And I was so broken, and I felt like I was facing death. And when you're facing that death, you don't really think about the things you accomplished. You think about the things you wish you accomplished. And I was so broken, all I had left was my truth. Because actually the good thing about being broken is
we lost your video, Charlie. Can you click the button maybe?
Yeah, somebody was calling me. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
So being broken is interesting because when we're young, we're so pure. You know, we're just pure. We're just golden. And then as we get older, society tells us, you know, what's realistic, or we get hurt. So we start plastering this stuff all over us. And over time, we just get calloused by life, because life is hard, and the way things are can hurt us. And that is what had happened to me. I got so plastered up by being this businessman trying to survive this music industry for 12 years. I was on top of the world, but I got so sick that when I was broken, it actually broke through all the layers of calluses, and it reminded me of my truth. And I got to see my golden self again, because all I had left was my truth. And my truth was, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an athlete. And I had no choice at that moment. I had no choice but to chase that dream, and I left everything. When I tasted that truth again, and you know, when you think of a dream, you're like, wow, that's amazing. But then your head kicks in and it's like, oh, that's unrealistic. Come on, Charlie, how are you going to be an athlete? You're 28 years old, 300 pounds. How will you make money? Like, what about your business? Like, all this logic and reason kicks in. But my heart just started singing again, because I knew I had no other choice, or that was just going to be my story. I was going to die. So I left my business, and I wanted to manifest the craziest thing in the world. I wanted to become something new. I wanted to be an athlete, and I couldn't make any sense of it, but I needed it to work. So I went back to what I know works. When I wanted to become a businessman, I gave myself a name, and I dressed up as it. I called myself CEO Charlie, and I would dress up as a businessman, and I became that. So now that I want to be an athlete, what if I just take the same childlike principle and do this? And I dressed up in colorful clothes, put my sunglasses on, and I put my bandana on, and I would go running, and I called myself Charlie Rocket. And I would introduce myself to everybody as Charlie Rocket. And on my Instagram bio, I called myself an athlete. And I actually identified with myself as an athlete. And when I started identifying myself as an athlete, all my actions in my life started changing. And somebody actually broke this down to me the other day. And I was like, wow, that blew my mind. Because we were talking about habits. And he was like, two people are quitting smoking. And I'm like, okay. He said, somebody offers both of them a cigarette. I said, okay. He said, one person said, I'm trying to quit. The other person said, I'm not a smoker. I'm like, wow, that's what I did. I'm like, I could never figure out how to lose weight because I was always saying, well, I'm trying to lose weight. But when I identified myself as an athlete, I started losing weight. I said, I'm an athlete. I told everybody, and I wanted to speak it into existence constantly because I found out when I was biking across America, I'll get to that part of the story. But when I was biking across America, I was in New Mexico at like a like where you park RVs. You got to basically be in like trailer parks most of the time.
Yep.
I was in this trailer park, and this old couple came up to me, and they saw my tour bus, and it was called the Dream Machine, and everybody's dream was written on it. And this old couple came up to me, almost like an old wise man and an oracle. Like it was like some prophets. It just felt so magical. And they said to me, do you know what abracadabra means in Hebrew? And I said, no. Because I think of abracadabra, I just think of magic.
Magician, yeah.
And when I told this couple that, they said it does mean magic. But the root origin of the word in Hebrew means as I speak, I create. And I'm like, oh my goodness. They say that's why it's important to always say your dreams. And I said, I started doing that. I just started telling everybody my dreams. And they would come true, so many of them. And my craziest dream was to become a Nike athlete. Yeah. And so I took the same principles of, you know what, I'm going to dress up as it. And I'm going to put it out to the world, and I'm going to abracadabra it because I'm just going to say I'm going to be a Nike athlete. And I made a fan-made Nike commercial. That was my law of attraction antenna. Yep. And I made a fan-made Nike commercial myself with one other person, spent about $350 on it. 3 days after we put it out, Nike calls me. They said, we don't know who you are, but you have our campus in a frenzy. And this was a year after I started my journey. I had lost 120 pounds. I was training for an Ironman. I was reversing my brain tumor. And I would write down in my quantum possibilities notebook because I started studying quantum physics because I was learning that this quantum physics stuff is starting to really explain all the law of attraction stuff and all the mystical stuff that has been around for ancient times. And I'm like, wow, modern science is able to put some explanation to this because I experienced all these crazy things in my life. And I just saw Nike call me, and I would write down in my book, I'm going to be in a commercial with LeBron James and Serena Williams. And this, I'm closer to my dream. And I bike ride across America. When I get done, boom, Nike calls me and they say, Charlie, you inspired us with your commercial, with your fan-made Nike commercial, to make the biggest marketing campaign we've ever done here at Nike. Because I had this vision of the power of vulnerability, the power of the common man. I call it the I am you theory, where everybody's always trying to be so perfect. But perfect is aspirational, but it's not inspirational. And I saw all these Nike athletes, and they were all so perfect. And I said, Nike needs an athlete that's not perfect because 8 out of 10 Americans are overweight or obese. So I was like, Nike needs an athlete for those people that's inspirational. And in Nike's mission statement, it reads, if you have a body, you are an athlete. And I'm like, that's me. I'm going to make the commercial. I'm going to make the brand play for Nike that I believe they need. And it inspired the biggest commercial of all time. We won an Emmy for it. And I was in it. And LeBron's was in it. And Serena was in it. And it was the Colin Kaepernick commercial. And it was the biggest brand play. Stock price skyrocketed. Sales skyrocketed. All because of this dreamer concept. I made a fan-made Nike commercial called Dream Crazy. The Colin Kaepernick commercial came out a month later, and it was called Dream Crazy. And I was able to star in it with the biggest athletes in the world. But it shows you the power of just being vulnerable and honest and being relatable to the people and telling stories that people can feel, where everybody's trying to be so perfect. The most influential people operate by the exact opposite paradigm. When you look at Oprah, why do we love Oprah so much? We love Oprah so much because Oprah, she has her story of being abused. She has her story of getting fired. She has her love struggle. She has her weight struggle. Why do you think we love the woman so much? The woman is us. The woman is literally us. It's like if we think about somebody like Jesus, for example, who's a very influential person, you know, let's not look at religion. Let's look at just the human and the impact. It's like, wow, like the man was a carpenter. The man was not very popular. He had about 12 followers. And it was just like, you can influence the world by being like the people, not trying to be so, like if Jesus was lifting up his shirt, being like, I have a 6-pack. Like, yeah, he probably would have had more followers, but he wouldn't have had the influence. We would be disappointed in Jesus if he was focused on his 6-pack. We would be disappointed in like, we would be disappointed in, like, think about it like this. Why do we love Michael Jordan so much? The man gave us the story that we felt in our heart. He gave us the hope that I can get cut from my high school basketball team. LeBron lost one game in basketball. There's just a different connection that we had with MJ than we had with like a LeBron or a Kobe. It's because LeBron and Kobe, like LeBron is the king, Kobe was the Mamba. The king is sitting on top of the mountain, and the Mamba is isolated and alone. They're basically saying, I'm nothing like you. And it's true. They are nothing like us. They're some of the greatest athletes in the world. But Michael Jordan was just like us. He got cut from his high school basketball team. He even had the song, Sometimes I Dream That He Is Me. See what they were doing with that Gatorade ad? He is me. You know, if I could be like Mike, and then he's playing with the kids in the park, and the ball hits him on the head as if he messed up, you know, as if he's not perfect. That's what gave us that synergy with him and give us that relationship with him. And that's what branding needs to be. And that's the branding that doesn't just help a company sell more, but it actually changes people's lives and gives them hope, because Michael Jordan gave me hope. Oprah gives me hope. Like I study the most influential people in the world, and they operate by the opposite way that influencers operate. In this culture right now, everybody's saying, I'm so perfect, you should follow me. I'm so smart, you should follow me. I've sold so many books, you should follow me. I have a Lamborghini or this or that, you should follow me. Influential people don't do that. The most influential people don't do that. So we're talking about the real next level of marketing. We're not talking about micro content. We're not talking about TikTok. I would be disappointed if Martin Luther King was making TikTok videos all day. I'd be disappointed. Martin Luther King was doing something in real life. That's real branding. That's not manufacturing. That's actually doing something and letting that be your name brand is the significance. And that's what I wanted in my life. I wanted to dedicate my life to being a new type of millionaire. I didn't want to, I had made millions in the music industry. I wanted to be like, okay, now I want to affect 1 million people's lives. Yeah. I want to create things bigger than me. I want to be at the bottom of the mountain. I don't want to be at the top of the mountain, because if I'm at the top of the mountain, then that means somebody can either knock me off, or when I die, it's over. They're going to go look at somebody else's mountain. I want to be at the bottom and have the people who are following what I'm teaching be the most important people, because they're now taking this knowledge and spreading it to other people into where I'm at the bottom and they're at the top. So that's okay. That's the tangent. I'm sorry. I just went on a tangent, Doc. Doc, I just went on a tangent. I'm sorry.
I love it. No, you set the foundation of the conversation, and it's about marketing trends moving forward and cultural trends moving forward. So I don't know exactly, how old are you now?
I'm 31.
You're 31. Okay, I'm 39. So I'm a little bit ahead of you, but I see a huge shift coming with the millennial culture coming. So I guess I'm considered a millennial, but an older one. I'm like right on the cusp where I might be a whatever the hell you want to call me. But I see a huge shift coming. And if brands aren't making certain moves, I think they're going to get left behind. And I wanted to talk to you about that today through your perspective.
I'll tell you, man, I'm seeing now, I've always, I don't know if it's luck or if it's a gift or if it's a skill. I don't know what it is, but I've always been able to see around the corner.
Yeah.
And there's something I'm seeing right now that I just started acting upon, because when I saw it, I didn't see it because it's actually not happening, but I saw the vision, and that vision I just know is what's next, and we're going to start seeing it implemented over the next few years. And I've got little signs that are proving it, and I'm doing a real life case study right now that's proving it. Because if there's one thing I know everybody needs Instagram, but everybody hates Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. There's only a few things in this world that people need to detox from. Okay. People detox from things that kill them. Yeah. Okay. We're talking about drugs, detox. We're talking about alcohol, detox. We're talking about food, detox. And there's only one other thing we detox from, and that's Instagram. There was never a Twitter detox. There was never a Facebook detox. I hear it all the time, man. Like, I need to go on a detox. Like, I'm about to delete Instagram from my phone for 30 days. I'm hearing this so much. It's making people so sick. It's so addicting. You got to think. It says Instagram. Like, this is addictive. Like, for real, it's like a real life drug, because it deals with visual stimulation. When you're dealing with visual stimulation, it's really affecting the brain. And what I'm seeing as the next wave is the exact opposite of what's going on. And this is usually how things go. Things usually go in a pendulum swing. So we saw this one point in time where phones were really big, like brick phones, right? And then we got to see how small they can get, to like the miniature little like razor phones. Yep. And now it's like a race to see how big a phone can get. But guess what? The next wave is going to be something smaller. Like, that's just the way it goes. You see it with pants. You see skinny jeans. Then you see baggy. Then you see skinny. Then it's going right now culturally with the kids, the 18 to 22-year-old kids, they're wearing baggy pants again. So it's like, okay, so things went from a skinny Eurofit to baggy. So if we're looking at this culturally with technology and in business, right now, Instagram is everything. The next wave is invisible influence.
Let's talk about this.
Invisible influence is something nobody's talking about, but it's about to be the biggest wave. And remember, Charlie Rocket said it. I promise you, this is crazy. I'm testing it myself in my business. I even read an article the other day that is kind of predicting the same thing, but in different words.
Okay.
They're saying that influencer marketing is dead. A bold statement, but they back it up with some stats. So influencers have lost trust with their audiences. So influencer marketing is still so new. It's 1.0, but the ad, the promo code, all that is dying. And the thing that is going to have the most trust is like organizations of people that is curated. Now I'll explain what I created. So this is my manifestation of this that's bigger than me. I created this world called Quantopia.
Good. Yeah.
And this world is an invisible world of people that's not even using like Instagram as the outlet. It's all hidden. It's a digital speakeasy.
Yeah.
It's all hidden behind a phone number. And this phone number I never put out on my Instagram. So people text the secret phone number because they get it from somebody else who's a quantum citizen. So now they're getting the secret number. Now they're texting the secret number and it sends them to the secret website called Hot Tub Time Machine Parts. And on this website, you find this flux capacitor. It's like a shopping cart. You find some flux capacitor and you hit add to cart and then boom, it takes you to a password page. So it's like a speakeasy, but then once you're in Quantopia, then there's all this podcast content and all this law of attraction content, all this business content, all this marketing content, and it's a community of citizens. And these communities that have so much trust, they're going to be the most influential movements in the world, but it's of invisible influence. It's not a Facebook page. It's not a Facebook group. It's a world. It's a world that's created in the invisible. And there's going to be coming soon. There's going to be an invisible influencer, and that's going to become an actual category. And some of y'all might be thinking I'm crazy. Just remember, in 2 years, in 3 years, you're going to see that there are younger people who are like changing the world. And they're like, yeah, I don't have Instagram. They're like, nah, like we're going to rock this thing like how Martin Luther King did it. Because Martin Luther King didn't have Instagram. So is it possible to become an influential person without social media? Well, guess what? The grass grows where we water it. Mm-hmm. You can have everybody else report what you're doing. And you never even have to have an Instagram. Kanye West doesn't have an Instagram. He has a Twitter, but we know about what he's doing every single day. It is possible to do real world significant things and to be an invisible influencer. And that's actually going to be the next wave because there's going to be so much trust. There's going to be so much trust. And I believe there's going to be an entire wave of secret societies that are built in the invisible as businesses. I see clothing lines coming down the line that don't have websites, that only have phone numbers. I'm seeing the next wave. And I'm at the beginning of it right now, just like I was at the beginning of it with the viral era of hip hop, taking hip hop from being a tiny genre to really owning all of culture. You go into any gym, you turn on any movie, you go anywhere, it's any sporting event, it's all hip hop. Yep. But nobody said that would be possible. Yep. Because they're like, it's too risky, it's too gangster, it's too dangerous. It can't be bigger than country music. Mm-hmm. It can't be bigger than rock music. It can't be bigger than Mariah Carey and pop music. Yeah. Hip hop is so big that add up all the other genres together, it doesn't even come up to the knee of hip hop. So when I'm telling you that there's concepts out there that might sound so crazy to you, and those crazy concepts are probably going to be the ones that completely take things by storm. And I'm telling you, there's something else coming down the line. It is getting sickening. I see people giving advice to our young people that they need to make 64 pieces of content a day to be successful on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is building a life trap. This is building a jail cell. And it's also saying, let's go to the shallowest end of the pool we can. Mm-hmm. Where I'm saying there's a deeper end of the pool. When we're talking about that fan-made Nike commercial, that was the deep end of the pool. That wasn't some dunk looking good in some cool clothes. No, we're talking about touching people's hearts. When we're talking about invisible influencer, we're talking about trust. Like you could trust somebody who's not even saying, I want attention. We live in a world of 3 billion Truman shows, and everybody is screaming, look at me, look at me. I'm going to do the craziest thing ever for you to look at me, or I'm going to publish more content so you could just look at me more. But what about the ones who aren't operating by that way? The world, the culture is going to start looking at them as those are the people we trust, are the ones that aren't screaming all day, who aren't becoming circus animals all day to get attention, because the algorithm will train us to be crazy. The algorithm, like, okay, I read a book. That was the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. Okay. I read this a few months ago while I was in Thailand. I was at Muay Thai boxing fight camp. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm reading this book as I'm sitting in the cafe, and it explained how slave masters kept slaves loyal. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is terrible, because Frederick Douglass was the slave who freed himself, right? He freed himself, and he had this one slave master that rewarded him with a little bit of money, like 10 cents here, 20 cents there. And when he was rewarded, he started thinking about freedom. When he was punished more, he became more loyal to the slave master. And this is exactly how these social media, artificial intelligence, algorithm, machine learning algorithms are keeping people loyal to the platform. So if I publish content and I don't do good on the algorithm, guess what's going through my mind? Master algorithm, I will do better. I promise I'll do better, because I got punished because my content wasn't good enough and I only reached 10% of my audience. They're only letting me get 10. I'm growing this whole field of crops and I can only eat 10% of it. But if I do something crazier, or if I do something like a circus animal, or if I do a prank, or if I do some crazy headline, or if I get very political or stimulate anger, then it rewards me. So I'm saying, yes, master, I'll do better. I'll do better, master. So if it punishes me, I'll actually try harder for Instagram. And that's crazy. Now, if Instagram gave me access to all my followers, guess what I would do? I would go out into the real world and build something myself. I would have so much power because I actually have access to all my people that I would be doing something other than thinking about how to please master. It would be easy to just put something out, start a new business, just put it up, and boom, it makes so much money. So then that business is occupying my time. But they want us to be low frequency. They want us to be low frequency. A low frequency individual, when we're having to do this anger, and we're having to do all this circus tricks, or we're having to make so much content for them to make all this money just for us to have a seat at the table, that puts us in a lower frequency, and low frequency people are high income for them. But as they should be. So when I'm saying the next wave is invisible influence, this is a very new concept in marketing and branding and business. Like, nobody in the world is going to tell you not to have an Instagram account right now. Well, I'm doing everything from here on out, hidden behind a phone number in a secret world that's exclusive. And guess what? I put my podcast in Quantopia, where I deleted all my podcast episodes off of the podcast app, and I put it behind a hidden phone number. And guess what? I can get more listens now than I did before, because now people feel like it's their podcast and not my podcast. They feel like they're quantum citizens, and this is their community because it's secret. Not just anybody can be in it. You got to get the number from another quantum citizen. So we're talking about marketing. We're talking about branding. We're talking about contagious. We're talking about inclusiveness. Like, they feel like it's theirs. They don't feel like it's mine. Yeah. So it's like, this is trust. I call it momology in marketing. This is a big concept that I've done my entire life, because I've always been able to build cult-like followings in the music industry because we have rabid fans. Yeah. We're talking about fans that will sleep outside for 3 days for a t-shirt. Yeah. We're talking about 8 world tours. In business, how do we build fan bases that are like so loyal? And I thought about it. I thought about my mom. My mom supports every single thing I do. Mm. Everything. Mm. Whether it's good, bad, maybe decent, she's always supporting it. And I said, how do I have more fans and customers like my mom? So I thought of the anatomy of why my mom supports me so much. Well, there was a high energy exchange. She went through pain. She carried me. She was connected to me. There was an actual connection. And it's like, okay, if I want to take somebody from complete stranger and move that person closer to mom status, okay, that means that person needs to have a real connection. I've got to care about that person just as much as they care about me. I got to communicate, and there needs to be a high energy exchange. So I created a formula in my life and in my business to convert people to moms, because those become the fans, the supporters, the customers that support everything. And I'm writing a book on that right now. I built Quantopia in the same method. For example, in Quantopia, when people come in, we ask them what their dream is. We like literally want to know, and then we give them a page in our Quantopia library. We have these big notebooks with 500 pages. They're massive, oversized, like almost like biblical journal looking notebooks.
I've seen you reading yours.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So we actually give each person in Quantopia a page, and we write their dream on their page. And then we send them a picture back because we care about them. We're pouring into the people of who care, because that's going to move them closer to mom status. And I don't need, think about this, like a small business owner. We look at like Instagram followers. We're like, oh, you got 70,000 followers, or you got 140,000 followers. I don't care about none of that stuff. You know what I care about? Give me 5,000 moms, because if there's 5,000 moms that spend $250 a year, man, we're talking about over $1 million.
Yep.
We're talking about a small business. We're talking about 5,000 people. I don't care about that top line number. You know what people in this culture are thinking about? When they have 10,000 followers, they're like, how do I get to 50? When they have 50, they're thinking, how do I get to 100? When they have 100, they're like, how do I get to 1 million? Well, what are you doing with the followers you got? You just going to think you've done your job just because they came in? What if there were people on Instagram who took every single follower they had and wrote them a message, like not a DM, like actual write them a message and mail it to them? Be like, what's your address? And you pour it into the people you got. Do you know how far they would spread your message with you never having to conquer new land again? You just pour into the land you already got, and those people will be so happy that all the other civilizations around will be like, I'm moving there. So you take over all the land without ever having to go to war. You never have to go do some new marketing strategy. You just pour love into the people that care about you. You convert them to moms, and they'll be the soldiers that go recruit everybody else. But too many times in business, we're in this frequency of new acquisition. But we are overlooking the village that already cares about us, and they're starving. But we're like, well, we need to grow the business, so let's go get more. Let's go take over new lands. We need more. We need a bigger empire. But every time you take over something, the people that are back home are struggling. So all we got to do is pour into the people that we got and convert them to moms, and watch what happens to our brand. Watch what happens to our business. This is the love frequency. This is that connection. This is the deep end of the pool. Yeah, there's got to be a shallow end of the pool. A pool needs both. You got to have a shallow end that attracts people in, but you got to have a deep end that makes you feel that connection. But what I'm seeing right now culturally I'm seeing not even the shallow, and I'm seeing the kiddie pool. I'm seeing the foot bath. I'm seeing the freaking little pond you just dip your foot in real quick when you're walking and it rains. It's so shallow. How about we start going deep? Why are we saying make 50 pieces of micro content a day or 70 pieces? Like, that's crazy. That has to be shallow. Like, how about deep? I'm trying to go deep with my people. I'm trying to form a connection with my people because that's how I am with my mom. It's deep. That's what I wanted to be with my fans and my customers. And we could build our marketing strategies based around that. We saw it with Nike. It went deep. I introduced a new concept to them that was deep, not shallow, and it worked. Third best performing stock in the Dow 30 last year. Sales skyrocketed because it went deep on dreams. It went deep on emotions. It wasn't just about running fast. It was about something bigger than the physical. We tapped into the energy. All right. Woo, I'm ranting.
Woof. Woof.
I'm out of breath, man. My mouth is dry. I'm out here on the trail.
There is so much that you just left my audience. I should say our audience.
Yeah.
Right? That it would take me hours to unpack, but I think you nailed the high level concepts that I think people should really start to pay attention to in 2020 if they want to survive.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Hey, I want to do something for our audience. So I never put this on social media. And I ask you guys, please do not put this on social media. I want to protect Quantopia. I'm going to give it to y'all. We're in the deep end of the podcast. If people made it this far, they're deep.
Yep.
So I'm going to give y'all the phone number to Quantopia, where all my podcast content is and the whole world of Quantopia is. And like nothing is public. It's all behind this phone number. But text the number 404-800-1073. It's 404-800-1073. And I would love to have y'all as quantum citizens because I go into all these concepts on repeat. Yeah. Like this is what I'm excited about. This is what I got to teach the world. Momology, storytelling, quantum physics, law of attraction, marketing, branding, stories. Like this is what I'm so passionate about because this is what I want to leave the world. So please just never post the number publicly, but you could definitely give it to your friends.
I love it. Charlie, let me ask you this before I let you go. Let's go 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 years from now.
Okay.
How do you want the world to remember Charlie Rocket?
Man, I'll tell you, bro. There's only a few things in this world I'm fascinated by. And it comes down to this 3-letter thing. I don't even know if it's actually what I should call it, but I'm going to call it an ism. Okay? So I'm not fascinated. I come from the celebrity world, and I'm really not fascinated by it because I'm so used to it. And I think there's a level beyond it to where when there's somebody who's on top of the mountain, it dies basically when they die. It's like it's over. It's literally over when they're over. Mm-hmm. You know, like there might be a little remnants that still exist, but when I look at Stoicism, I mean, we're talking about Marcus Aurelius was like 2,000 years ago, and it's still going. I'm vegan, for example. Who started veganism? I don't know, but it's still going, and it's actually getting stronger. And it's like here I am being a preacher of it to somebody else, you know, or a lot of other people, because it's not even about the person who started it. It has nothing to do with the person. I look at like religions like Buddhism or Christianity or Islam or any religion. Those are isms because it doesn't really matter who started it because it empowers the person who uses it to become a better person. And then they help spread it to somebody else who becomes a better person. Like good isms make people better. Like for me, veganism made me lose weight. So I tell people about it. But that's what I'm fascinated by. I mean, I even see it with sports. Somebody started basketball. Who? I don't know. It's the least important person. But that's what I'm fascinated by, because 2,000 years from now, he's going to be up in heaven like, yep, still going. Whoever started, stoicism, like, yep, it's still going. Like, that's what I'm fascinated by. And that's what I want to leave this earth. I'm not even on me. It's got to be bigger than me. I want to create the construct that can continue when I'm gone. And to do that, sorry, I'm crossing the river again. To do that, I can't be on Charlie. I have to be on empowering the person who's listening to this message and make sure it can continue. And that's what like Quantopia is for me. Like, I would love if I created a world, if I created a society that changes people's lives and it keeps going. Like, it can keep going. That's what I want. That's what I want to do by the time I die. If I were to die today, then podcasts like this exist and maybe people can take it and run with it. But I hope I live a very long time so that I can keep developing the vehicle that can change people's lives the way I've changed mine in my 31 years. I'm excited to be 62. I'm excited to be 80 because I know I'll have wisdom by then. I'm able to see things now. I'm able to spread it now, but I don't know everything. I just know a little bit about marketing, culture, and branding, but I'm a baby.
Yeah.
I got a lot of wisdom that I want to give to the world, but it's going to take time.
Yeah. And listen, man, I don't believe in coincidences at all. I think you and I were supposed to meet for a reason. I don't know what that reason is.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that we met because I definitely I get your energy now that I'm actually talking to you a lot stronger than just watching you on Instagram, on an IGTV. So I will tell you this. I'm a pretty good judge of character and I'm a pretty good judge of frequency levels. And I got to tell you, man, you're a beautiful soul.
Thank you, man.
That is the only way that I can explain. If somebody were to ask me, describe Charlie in 2 words or less, that would be how I explain you. Because you could have went so many different directions with the experiences that you have gone through in just 31 years of your life. And this is the road that you want to go down?
Yeah, man.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's greatness, in my opinion.
Wow.
So
I'm gonna save that clip right there. That's a big statement you just made. I need to post that. I need to post that on my micro content.
Well, listen, we're gonna give you the recording of this. We're gonna give you the links. Once it gets published, it'll be about a week or so until we get it out. But I gotta tell you, man, I have to rewatch this just to digest again what it is that you just laid down in the past 50 minutes, because it is so powerful and there are so many levels to this stuff. I think if somebody watching this or listening to this takes one little snippet, like Momology marketing, and just applies that for 30 days, what difference their life and business is going to make.
Come on, man. I'm ready.
Right? So
I'm ready.
Listen, so we have the number, and like Charlie said, don't post it publicly, but text the number. I'm jumping in. I never got the number until today, so I'm happy you shared it. Right? But I know a couple of people that are in there too. I don't know if you know Carson Jones. Do you know Carson?
Oh,
Jones?
yeah, I know Carson. That's my boy.
Yeah. So that's how I think he put me on to you.
Yeah.
And then Drew Cohen got in touch with me, and then Ryan got in touch with me. That's how it all happened. So
hey, those are all quantum citizens, man.
Right.
All of them.
Right. So
Carson's actually the writer of the book Momology. We're writing it together.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes.
Another phenomenal person. I mean, I worked with him pretty closely last year on some things, and he was the one I gotta thank Carson. He was the one that pretty much put the Brand Doctor podcast on the map. And then I took the baton and ran.
Come on,
right?
man.
But so you have a good following. You have good people around you. And I think that's super, super important. And you're attracting like-minded people. And I think that is the key to winning in life.
Absolutely.
Just to have the right people around you. And listen, Charlie, I got to let you go. I know you got a whole day ahead of you out there. So I can't thank you enough for just coming on and spending an hour with me. And there will be a time where where are you in Cali?
Right now,
Where do you live? Where do you live?
I'm in Malibu. I live in Malibu.
Oh, you live in Malibu. Okay. So I'll be out in Santa Monica. I'll be out in Santa Monica the end of February.
Uh-huh.
If you're around, we're going to link up.
Done deal, bro. Hit me up.
All right. Sounds good. Anything else that you want to leave my audience with before we wrap up?
I guess, man, if you didn't write down the number, 404-800-1073, I'm not even going to give you my social. I'm not even going to give you my social. It's there. I have it, but I'm not fascinated by it.
Yeah.
I'm not on the likes. I don't care about likes. I don't care about comments. I'm tired of the algorithm punishing me when everybody who follows me wants my content, but they can't even get it. Like, I'm tired. I can't even promote that anymore. Yeah. I can't even support that because they want me to be a circus animal to reach my audience. I'm not for that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm gonna build the deep end of the pool. And that's the reason why I'll give y'all the number, because it's like, this is the deep end of the pool. We're at the deep end of the podcast. And that's all I care about. I care about the heart. All the mind stimulation. I'm not for that.
I'm excited to see what you do in 2020, my friend. And you just gained another supporter.
Thank you, man.
All right.
All right, man. You better call me now.
Bro, I'm telling you right now. We're texting as soon as I get off this call.
All right, bro.
Have an amazing rest of the day, Charlie. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate you, my man.
Thank you, bro.
Take care.